Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us in our webinar. Today's topic is how Trotec can support you in starting your own laser engraving business. So today we've got two very special guests and speakers. These are my two dear colleagues from the UK. That's Bryan Jater, who is the sales director of Trotec Laser in the UK. And secondly, we have Andy Campling. He's also from the UK, and he's the sales manager of the London and Southeast region in the UK. So as I said already, today's topic will be how Trotec supports you in starting a laser business. It will last for about 30 minutes, maximum 45 minutes. We'll see how things go, and maybe we can even answer some questions at the end, and then we'll keep that going. So I already hit the recording button, so we will share this with every one of you, and then you can just have a look at the webinar again and again and again, how often you want to watch it to get more and more information on this topic. So I'm going to start at the beginning with a short Trotec Laser company introduction. So first of all, we are the leading manufacturer of laser systems. So that's what we're doing. We're designing our machines in a way that you can laser engrave, laser cut, and laser mark any kind of materials. But we also provide you with consumables. So that means laser-able materials and products that you can laser process. So these are our product ranges. I would just slightly attach them now. So that would be the Speedy series. These are our laser engravers. Then we've got the SP series, which are larger flatbed systems for laser cutting. But of course, they can also engrave, as well as the Speedy series can also cut. And then we've got our Galvo family, which are called the speed markers. And like I said already, the consumables, which have been especially designed for lasering, for being lasered. So you can easily laser process these. We've got all kinds of different colors and materials also. There is wood, for example. There is acrylics, laminates, all kinds of things. So you can just check out our web shop on the consumables, but there will be more to these products and product families later on in the presentation. I would just like to add here that our headquarters is based in Machtrenk, in the beautiful country Austria, where I'm located. And we've got around 750 employees worldwide. So that makes it 17 countries, subsidiaries. And we're also having a lot of many distributors who are selling and marketing our products in any other countries. So we are active in 104 countries. And our credo is to provide first-class laser system solutions and laser-able materials to make our customers, so you, more profitable. So with this one said, I'll pass on to Andy and to Bryan to tell us more about the first decisions, the first thoughts you have to have in terms of starting your own laser engravers business.
Hi, thanks, Simone. Oh, Bryan, I think you're on mute. Sorry, brother.
Apologies.
No problem.
My best day.
Starting a laser business requires a whole lot of decision making, and we're going to cover it in relatively broad terms because we've only got half an hour or so. But the basic topics we're going to look at are choosing the right sort of products, how to price them, what equipment you're going to need to create and supply those products, and the type of marketing activities that will drive business to your door. So that's in a broad overview of what we're going to look at in a bit more detail for the rest of the presentation. If we could, Simone, you wanted to talk about our engraver's handbook.
Yes, so we made an engraver's handbook for you guys. It's 50 pages thick, and there you can find all the relevant information that you need in terms of building your own laser engraver's business. So you've got everything in one place. You would just have to click on our website and then go for the handbook of engravers, and there you can get it. You just have to submit here your request. And then you can also scroll down a little bit on this page. Bryan, can you scroll down a bit, please? And there you can find some more pictures and also what are the contents of this engraver's handbook. So this gives you a good overview on what topics will be are being addressed in this engraver's handbook. Yes, so that you can find on our website, troteclaser.com. So you can have a look at this one. And I think we'll go on with the next slide then, and I'll pass on to you guys again.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Simone. So you're starting a new business. What products are you going to offer? Andy and I have both been in the laser business for a long time, and we've seen numerous people come across our doors with new start ideas. And in my opinion, the people that have had the most success are the people that have had an affinity with the products that they're looking to supply. So whether or not it's turning perhaps a hobby into a business, which we see regularly, and we're certainly seeing at the moment with people making baking products and things like that, which is very, very popular whilst we're all in shutdown. But also people who may have purchased wedding invitations in the past and thought, hang on, that's something that's a really good idea. I can do that. But having some type of affinity or going into a field that you have some level of expertise in has certainly, in my view, led to the most successful new start businesses. And choosing a product is absolutely key to that. Andy, what's your view on this?
I think your first comment that when people come to us, they're often got a dream or a passion for doing something, and that's what drives everything forward. So just being able to help them through those processes and make the right decisions, that's what it's all about for us. You're right as well that a lot of things are led by the world around us. So got to be at the moment the biggest laser process products worldwide have to be PPE equipment. So face shields at the moment, and coming soon to shops near you, I'm sure, washable face masks, because we can't be throwing away all the ones for the National Health Service. So one thing can lead to another. So something I was just thinking about, Bryan, was that we're all going to be wearing these face masks traveling around, and we lose a little bit of our identity. And just a little link with some of the products we make, maybe we're going to see a return back to the name badge. So we can all be a little bit more gracious and open to people around us, rather than we looking like Robin Hood on the streets.
I think you're right. And this is a key stage to anything, starting any new business. as well as looking at what products you might want to supply, we need to look at whether it's actually a product business that you want or whether it's a service business. Do you want to be taking on work from other people, which is just marking their products? So there's a lot of things to consider at this stage of the process, and that's why it's very important to get advice from a company that can help you make those decisions. And Andy, what do you see most often when people come across the door to you, and what do you see that they don't consider while they're looking at what products might be applicable?
People often come with a vision of now and an idea for now, but what's sometimes missing, and what I try to help with, is what could be coming or what could be possible in the future. Because what we do see very, very often is that whatever a laser business starts to do in terms of their manufacture, their processing, sometime in the future, that blossoms into lots of other ideas and opportunities.
For sure, and we certainly see a lot of diversification within our own customer base, and it's quite exciting when people come in and they may have a vision to create one particular type of product, but then as they walk around a showroom, they're looking and they're seeing other products that may just tie in with their business, and it's the classic thing. Like, again, if we go back to wedding invites as a for instance, you start with that. And then you see, actually, I can do glasses, so I could add champagne flutes into my product range, or I could add wedding favors or whatever. And we like to help build that vision of where your business is going to be by showing you the other products that are likely to be applicable to you.
Yeah, I think that's an important consideration when it comes to what the setup is going to be when you take your machine. So are you just going to, if you're not careful, there's a danger that you end up with that vision and that product stuck because of the choices you've made at that stage. So making the right choices is paramount.
And we can help because we will help with prototyping, with marking up of existing products that you've got. Our customers are very welcome into the showrooms, and they're very welcome to make real life product that they can then take to market. And they can do that all well before they've purchased a machine. Come in, make some product, put it onto Etsy, put it onto not on the high street or Amazon or wherever else. And you can literally test the market with products before you actually have to put any money down. And that's the important side of how we can support you in that choosing of your products.
Something I try to impress on everybody is when they book in for a demo or a video demo, as it might be, until we can all travel around again, is that's just the first step in a journey. So we don't have to get everything done the first time. You know, we can spend plenty of time helping people generate their ideas and take that whole process forward.
Agreed. Agreed. I think that probably covers off a fair amount of advice for products. I mean, the overall advice, I think, is, if we're to surmise, is our advice is to take advice and come and see us and discuss what you want to do, because we can help, and we can help you proof of concept and all the other good things that you need to do before you put any sort of large investment in. So it's, as always is, contact your local Trotec office and speak to one of our advisors, because they're there to help.
Yeah, I'd just like to add on to that, Bryan, that make a pest of themselves. Yeah, make a pest of yourselves, because the more knowledge that you can gather before you start your journey, the more successful you're likely to be. Yeah, the faster you're going to reach it.
Definitely. Can we move on to the next? Oh no, Simona, you're going to show a link to some of our applications, weren't you? My apologies.
Yes. I'm just clicking on to this one. I just want to show you that we also provide you on our website with some impressions on applications, so you can just go right there and have a look what is out there already, and then you can also find the application files there. Just get some creative insights and some input for yourself, because maybe you see something, for example, that sign that would be interesting for you, and you can just broaden your business, right? So if you see something that makes sense for you and that would be a cool thing as a business, then you can just take over here and get some impressions on this page. So that's also on our website, and then of course we post these also in our social media channels or on YouTube if we have any videos concerning these. So you can get a lot of information and details and impressions on these things. So there you can get your support too, like Bryan said already, and get some more visions on those things. So that was from my side. Let's go on to the next slide. Very important topic on pricing the engraving job.
If we can just very, very quickly, going back to the applications, you can see all of these things for real in our showrooms. And the engraving and cutting market is a very tactile business. So the best way to see these things for real, the images are great, but the best way to see these things for real is to come in and pick them up for yourself and have a proper look and handle it. And you can do that at Trotec showrooms all across the globe.
Yeah, we'll show you how to make it.
Great input. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Simona. I apologize.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Thank you. Okay. Well, next one. How to price your engraving job.
Yeah.
Here's the question we probably get asked more than any other during the demonstration process, and that is how to price your job. What's my product worth? The best way, in my view, is to start with some basic web research. If you've decided what it is that you want to produce, then look it up on not on the high street or Etsy or Amazon or any of those places. Most places will have pricing. If it's not on a website somewhere, then place an inquiry with somebody else that might be able to make it. Find out how they would value it. Or talk to family and friends. Show them your products that you've got. Talk to family and friends. Ask them what they think it is worth. I think you've got to do as much market research as possible, because you've got to decide that you can make this product and sell it at a high enough profit.
Yeah, it's good to take some alternative views on it, because I've never seen it, but I can imagine that there's been one or two people in history that have fell in love with a product and made it, but not found anybody that wanted one. So yeah, you need to do your market research first. And
of course, you need to understand what it costs to make your product, because it's all very well having a beautiful product that you can sell for 50 euros. But if it costs you 49 euros 50, then it's not a great business. So take it into consideration absolutely everything. Your time has value. Your electricity has value. You need to be paying back the cost of a machine. If you're in commercial premises, then you will have rent and rates and things like that. All need to be taken into consideration when you're putting a price to your job. One thing that we see often, and I guess Andy's seen it on many occasions as well, is that people want to know how much to charge for machine time. But what they don't take into consideration is the setup time. And for every job that goes through a laser machine, there's a setup time for it. And whether that be making a customer's artwork work for a laser, or whether that be creating artwork for a customer. And that can take hours of time, and you've really got to make sure that that is being costed in every time you send a price out for a job.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point there, Bryan. That's it's often forgotten that there's that artwork element right at the beginning. And until pretty recently, till we had that little job control cut module, you really only found out if a job was going to work properly if you cut it. But thankfully now our customers can actually run a little job through job control cut, check for duplicate lines, delete them, and even optimize the job, so make more money in less time, more profit. That's what it's about.
And again, this is another good reason to talk to your local Trotec support, because you can actually make the product. So you can, at that point, you can figure out how much sheet plastic or whatever it may be you're going to need to make the product. We can give you pricing for a lot of products on how much it would cost for the sheet product in the first place. And we can make it so you can see how long, not just the engraving time, because the engraving time is just a portion of it, but maybe assembly time as well. Or if it's something that's glued, you need to take that gluing time and the setting time and everything else into consideration. And you've also got to contemplate how you're going to pack it, how you're going to get it to the customer.
Yeah, how long you get to the post office.
Everything needs to be factored in. And again, talk to your local rep, because they will help you go through everything in detail and put actual currency to the numbers that you're thinking about.
Yeah, it's a good point. If anybody wants to do a little return on investment calculation, we can work that out. We've got a bit of experience that we're willing to share. It's free. We offer free consultation. Why wouldn't you take it?
Absolutely. So, Simone, you've got the video for.
Yes. So.
Yeah, I'd recommend everyone has a look at this.
Yes, it's a video that has this content. So about really pricing a job. This video has been made from James. He is the video itself, like the series of these are called James in the Van. So James is pretty much sitting in his van and driving around and tackling all kinds of topics that are important for you guys, for everybody who is working with a laser. And therefore, I wanted to show you that we've got a YouTube channel where you can find all these kinds of videos. So that's to say, for example, about how to pricing a job, how to market your engraving business, how to also finding the right laser machine, or there is all kinds of things already on this YouTube channel. And just to show you how this looks like, so this is our Trotec Laser YouTube channel, and there you can scroll down. There is above more than 400 videos already available with any kinds of topics. So make sure to have a look at these and check them out, so you can get all kinds of information from these two, and also inspirations again. So there is a lot of content available already. So just have a look at it and check it out. And then if there is any other questions regarding any of those videos, you can just contact us again, and we'll make sure you get your questions answered.
And
so
with James's videos in his van, what most people won't know is James had an engraving business. So when he's talking about pricing and things like that, it's from real experience. It's not just hearsay.
That is true. Yes. So, do you want to go on, guys?
Let's move on.
Anything to add here? Okay, perfect. So that's the next topic. What kind of equipment and accessories are you gonna need for building your own business?
Well, I think the machine is obviously absolutely crucial, but we'll cover more on machinery in the next slide and what to look for in a laser. I think what what I've certainly seen over the years is people kind of forgetting that they may need other ancillary equipment to go with a machine. For instance, if you're in the laser cutting of acrylic marketplace, then at some point you're going to want to bend acrylic, or you might need a saw or something like that to get the acrylic sheets down from 3 meters by 2 meters into something that fits onto a laser bed. So people need to be thinking about what else they might need, because that will have an effect on what budget they've got available or what they need to borrow to make their business actually something that can function.
Yeah, might even just come down as well, Brian, sorry to jump in, but even how are you going to assemble it, to glue it together? Are you going to glue it or bolt it? All these things are a consideration. Be a sad thing to grab a great product but not be able to send it through the door because you couldn't put it together before you shipped it.
Absolutely. And when it comes to the accessories, I mean, we talked earlier about people starting with one particular product and then finding bolt-on products that go with it. So it's always good if you can think of those things right at the beginning. So you may decide that you want to add wine glasses or bottles or whatever, at which point you're going to need a rotary attachment. So if you get it all right at the beginning, then we can give you really good training on it all at the same time. That's not to say it can't be added at a later date, and we can still train you, but you're instantly going out to a wider field or getting more market penetration into your existing customer base, the more accessories you've got. So it's really a case of just keeping in mind not just where your business is, but where it might go.
Oh yeah, that's so true. That's so true. I mean, so many of our customers come back and tell us that they've started off with a certain product line, and then because they start to get some feedback from their own customers along the lines, that was great, but can you do this, or what about that? You can branch off very quickly into other avenues and build your business up. And
have you ever had anybody come back to you with regretting what they've purchased from you?
I'm glad to say that the only comment that I've had along that line has really been that they wished for. So they wish they'd bought a bigger laser, or they wish they'd invested in more power. So yeah, I think there is this. You touched on it earlier, Brian. When if you went into the wedding card or the wedding invitation market, an A3 laser cutter might be the right sort of size machine for you, because that's the size you're going to buy your media. But when you come to get some feedback and see some more opportunities for the food stands or the nice gifts at the wedding, then having greater area and greater power would enable you to do everything faster and grow your product line.
For sure. And I mean, I think essentially what we're saying here is, when it comes to what equipment will be needed, it's not just think about the laser. It's think about everything else that you might need, because you might need a packing bench. You might need to buy a load of racking to store your products on. But try and think about how your business will actually function, not just about a piece of kit and then I'm going to sell hundreds of thousands of euros worth of product. Try and think about how logistically that's going to work, because the other things will help you. The other thought process will help you to actually put numbers onto what's achievable.
Yeah, and I think come and ask us how am I going to make it? How's it going to happen? Because take the example you used of the wedding market. You'd actually want a couple of cutting tables for that. One cutting table to do your paper and card on and keep it nice and clean, and a different cutting table to do the cutting of the resistant materials.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Easily missed at the beginning, and something that which could trip you up. Sorry, Brian.
Sorry, I was going to interrupt to say.
Another example. You've got me going now. You've got the juices flowing. you mentioned wine glasses and bottles and one thing and another. Well, you can have a rotary device, rotary accessory, and complete that task. But unless it tilts up or down, you're not going to be able to do anything other than anything that's completely round. So again, you limit the choice or you limit the product line. And choice is what today's lifestyle is all about. Albeit we can't choose to go outside and do a lot of things at the moment, but in the new, that will be back.
I think you make a great point there, Andy, because it really is about choice and flexibility, and that's why we encourage people to come and see us, because we can show them and we can give them the choices. And if they walk away and don't want to buy a laser machine, well, that's fine as well. But you've got to give yourself the maximum number of choices and do your due diligence. That's what we're saying.
If it's free, why not take advantage of it?
Absolutely. Can we move on now? Simone, are you going to go to...
Yes, I'll go just to the next slide. I just want to point out here on the bottom again, I put here one link again. So that's the direct link to our customer service. So you can just contact them if you have any questions, or in general, your local subsidiary or partner from Trotec, as Bryan already mentioned beforehand. So then you can get all the support that you need. So let's move on to the next slide.
Yes. Can we just stay with what equipment for a moment? Because I missed a really important point, if I may.
Yes, sure. Go for it.
What doesn't get discussed enough, in my opinion, during the laser sales process by many of the competitors, is extraction. And extraction is absolutely vital. It always seems to be something that's tagged on as, yes, and you'll need some extraction as well. But extraction is so important to really good use of your laser and making it work to its very best. We see tiny little fans being put onto machines which simply don't take the fumes out of the cabinet. And as well as not taking the fumes out, if you don't take them out, there's always a fire risk as well. And we go some places and we see existing installed machines, and the machines are absolutely filthy because the extraction is simply not man enough for the job.
Yeah, no, I entirely agree, Bryan. It's frightening, some of the little setups I've seen. You do need to make a good choice. I mean, the other thing, it's actually a healthy choice as well. So if you're not taking all of the particulates and the fumes away, then you're inhaling them. So yeah, you need a professional setup, definitely, for that. And it makes such a difference with cut finish as well.
It really does. It's a much better product when the extraction is working well.
Yeah. And I think just a little thing that a lot of customers tell me about our extraction setup and our air pump for the air assist is that they turn on and off automatically, so they don't have to remember how to do it or to do it. And there you've got that little safety factor coming in both sides as well.
So true. So true. Sorry, Simone, we can move on now. My apologies.
Sure, no problem at all. That's okay. That's fine. I'll just move on to the next slide then for you.
Okay.
So that will be about what to look for in a laser machine.
Yeah.
Andy, do you want to start on this one?
Well, I think the bed size, we covered it a little bit, but people are risk averse naturally, or most people are risk averse naturally. So there's a tendency to fall down on a little bit of underinvestment here, both in bed size, I think, and in power, yeah, because they're linked so closely. If we think about a lot of our customers' journeys, we can see that they expand their businesses pretty rapidly, yeah. So certainly within sort of 2 to 5 years, a lot of people are looking to come and invest in another laser. Sometimes because they can't cope with their production, or other times because they're looking to grow into other ranges of products. So yeah, I think outside of of today or tomorrow and think a few months or a few years down the road is good advice.
And something that I've spoken to many customers on power. And bed size is very easy to see because you can see how big a piece you can fit into a machine. Power is a more difficult one to talk to people about because they don't necessarily understand it so well. But what I always say to customers is you can turn the power down, but if you haven't got enough power, you can't turn it up. There's nowhere to go. So always invest in the most powerful laser system that you can justify, because you won't regret that.
No. So a more powerful laser, what would he say? A more powerful laser will engrave everything faster and cut thicker than a lower power laser.
Yeah, and we use a calculation of 10 watts per millimeter for
commercial cutting.
Yeah, for profitable cutting, essentially. So 100 watts, 10 mil. Now, that's not to say that you can't cut a lot thicker than that, but it's not so much at a commercial rate. So we're talking about what we think is a commercial rate for doing it. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, so the perfect setting for a laser is at a certain enough power setting and a balanced velocity to cut through your sheet materials. So if you want to cut through thicker material with a lower power laser, you've got to slow it down. And if you slow it down, your productivity falls. So yeah, you can't add it in if you haven't got it.
And it'll make your product more expensive. So again, less saleable on the open market, perhaps. So it's very much worth considering. That's for sure. Now we've talked about sizes and powers, and we've been talking about CO2 power because that is the biggest seller in terms of lasers in our marketplace. But Andy, if I can ask you, what does Flex add for us?
So Flex basically is one of our speedy lasers, which has a CO2 laser source and a fiber laser source. So the CO2 for organic materials like woods, plastics, textiles, glass, paper, card, so on and so forth. But the CO2 laser can't penetrate metal and cause a change to the surface state. So if you want to do metal like gold, silver, platinum, bare metals, then you need to have the fiber element. So if you had a flex machine, you've got the flexibility to engrave almost anything. I think it's worth pointing out that you can use a compound like this Cermark material, available at all good Trotec shops, to mark onto stainless steel. And in fact, we've got a new product. I don't know if you can see that in the light there. You get a nice black mark on the stainless steel, and a new product which is able to mark onto aluminium, bare aluminium and brass as well. But you're always going to be limited because that's applying a substrate to the surface of that material rather than engraving into it and making an indelible mark.
So again, I think what we're saying in response to the question on the slide is our recommendation is to speak to your local representative, because they can help you, they can advise you throughout the process. But try not to limit yourself in terms of bed size, because that has a tendency to inhibit growth within a new start business. We understand that there are obviously financial restrictions, but look at it and do the maths on it and try and work out where the best place to be is. We would agree, myself and Andy, that power, you can't have too much power, certainly not in the power range that we do. It can only improve your product. You'll cut faster, you'll engrave faster. There's no doubt about that.
I just wanted to shoot in with something there, Bryan. One of the nice features that we've got is that we could bring a little bit of comfort to the party as well, because if you are going down the CO2 route, not quite sure about the fiber, we can turn one of our CO2 machines into a flex machine in the field in the future, or we can part exchange. So there are options moving forward, and it doesn't benefit us to give poor advice, because at the end of the day the buck stops with us. So we want to engage with our customers as much as possible, find out what they want to do, what their dreams and aspirations are, and then we're on that journey together.
Yeah, great point. And moving on from Andy's point, it's not just the flex upgrade, which is field upgradable, the camera system that's available, rotary attachments, different bed types are all available as a upgrade. So you can start with almost anything and then build a machine from there.
Yeah, and can I just make one last point there, Brian? So if one of our, I've had it plenty of times before where customers have got a certain product line, they perhaps need to go down another line, but they wanted to get some feedback, perhaps before they buy a rotary or upgrade to a flex. Well, we can get involved in the showrooms, make those samples, and they can promote those out on their own media, on their own websites, and they can get a feedback, so they can really try before they buy.
Excellent point. Yeah, once you've become a Trotec owner, we're not waving you goodbye and saying good luck. We still want to be involved in the growth of your business, and our showrooms are always open, ready for you to try the next thing that you want to try.
In fact, they're still open now.
Thank you, Simone.
Perfect. Thank you. I would like to add one more thing here in terms of the flex, if that's okay for you guys.
Absolutely.
Because there is one cool thing about flex too, because you've got both laser sources in one machine. You can actually laser process different materials in one shot. So you'd have one job. Maybe you have, for example, let's take this pen here. It has different materials. So for this one, for example, for the cork, you would use the CO2. For the plastics, you could use the fiber, and then you can have just in one job, you can do everything. So the laser source will be chosen that in terms of the material that is needed, kind of. So you don't have to take out the pen and put it into another one with another laser source, but you can have everything in one job.
Yeah,
that makes it way easier for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
So I think we can go on to the next slide. I posted just here and once again the link to our website where you can check out all our laser engraving products. So that means the Speedy series in this case. So let's go on with the next slide here. So what else would you have to consider when building up an own laser business?
Well, I think our advice is,
yeah,
our advice is always do your due diligence and don't just stick with one company to go and see. Go and see a few companies and take the product that you want to produce, or take some files, or take some substrates, and make the company provide or produce whatever it is that you want to do, because that will certainly work on the quality issue, because you'll be able to see exactly what it is that you wanted to make or mark or whatever it may be, but you'll be able to see the whole process, and you'll be able to see how quick it is, and how good the quality of that product is. And I think that's something that we continue to push people to do. Don't just come and see us. Do come and see. Go and see some others as well, and make your decisions based on the quality of what comes out.
Definitely put different systems to the test, because there's otherwise a danger that you come learn about lasers, from the best people in the field and then have an expectation that another laser is going to be the same. Well, that's not the case, very definitely. So, yeah, great point, Bryan. This due diligence is so important right at the beginning. Once you've made the purchase, once you've got it, it's hard to take a step backwards.
It really is. And what we see is, again, we mentioned it before, but a cheap machine will make a cheap looking product most of the time. So you end up with something that has much less value in the marketplace. And we see it time and time again, where people have come to us, we've produced some lovely samples, and then they can't replicate it anywhere else. And of course, your natural instinct is to want to replicate something that's absolutely fantastic at a really low price. But there's a reason that things are at a really low price.
Yeah, I back you up 100% on that. And the other thing is about if you don't invest enough to make a quality product, it also takes 4 times as long to make it. So you've got a double whammy really working against you. I mean, I always say to people that nobody ever complained if you received something and the quality was better than you expected. You only get complaints when the quality is not as good as you expect, or you took twice as long as you were promised to get it.
Absolutely. And you also need to consider how easy it is to actually go from concept to product. Now with the Trotec machines, we use a Windows printer driver, so you can output to the machine from virtually any graphics software that you could possibly wish for, and there's nothing in between. It's straight from your software to your machine. What you find is with a lot of systems, then there's specialist intermediary software that you have to use to drive a machine, and again, that takes time. It puts another process into your manufacturing, which costs money, and you need to have a look and just see how easy it is to do, because we get a lot of people who have no software skills whatsoever. Andy, you must have loads coming across, and I know you specifically like to get people in and give them some training before they get their machine.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that have had a vision of a product, but not necessarily known how to create the artwork to make it. And then, of course, they might not know how to use the laser anyway, which probably be more to be expected. But we can have people into the showrooms, skill them up on the design software, get them used to the laser processing side of it, so that when we arrive with the laser on site and install it, you can be up and running and making profit virtually straight away. So hitting the ground running is the way I like to express it. And to be honest, I'd rather do it that way because my customers are more happy. Then they don't need as much tech support. Yeah. So if we can skill people up and tool them up at the beginning, my view, that's much better. I know we all agree with that.
Well, their payback starts instantly, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I like a happy customer and not an unhappy customer. So a customer that's confident is a happy customer.
From a support perspective, you can buy a laser machine from all over the place. What do you get if something goes wrong is something that should be a huge consideration, because nothing goes wrong when you're not using it. So if you're in the middle of a production run, what are you going to do if a machine fails? And this is a question that our customers ask us all the time in terms of what our tech support is like when they're comparing us to other suppliers. Now, certainly, I can't speak for the tech support all over the world in exactly how it works, but in the UK, we've got more field-based engineers than we have showrooms, because we understand how important it is to keep everybody up and running.
Yeah, the laser is very often the real money-making device inside that business. And particularly at the beginning, if you might only have one laser, then if there is a service that needs to be done, or repair to be made. I mean, we make very, very reliable machines, but you couldn't say that nothing goes wrong, never. Then we like to be able to fix that problem as quick as we can, put things back to normal. So the thing I really I know that our customers appreciate is the team viewer software in job control, which means that we can diagnose an issue electronically over the computer systems before we even get there. 9 times out of 10, of course, it might not be that we need to send an engineer. It might just be that we need to suggest that something's done in a slightly different way. But we can get all of that done really quickly and really efficiently.
And of course, again, talking specific to the UK, our setup is actually currently providing us over 97% first-time closeout on any visits where an engineer has to go, because the engineers have been Trotec trained. You've not taken an engineer who's used to fixing desktop printers and sent them out to fix a laser. You've sent properly trained engineers who know exactly what they're doing, and that's got value, because that quick closeout rate on any issues has got huge value to the customer as well.
Yeah, I think there's another benefit that the engineers bring, which is that they're involved in the installation, then they know what the customer's application is as well. So many things are application specific, so they're able to put their finger on problems or issues or help or advice straight away. So it's a nice chain.
This is true. Yeah, good point. Good point. And the last item on this slide is materials. So we have, as Simone mentioned in her intro, a huge range of sheet plastics, sheet woods. We have paper, card, MDF, you name it. A huge amount of laser specific products available. And not only are they available on next day delivery in virtually every country, but there are processing settings for all of them automatically built into our software. So if you're buying Trotec materials, then you've got a setting. You shouldn't have to mess around and do any experimenting. It's there and it's ready to go.
Yeah, and if there are any questions about how to do things faster, or questions with the results, then the showrooms are able to help. That's something I get involved in, quite often with people. So it helps if it's a Trotec machine, because we supply the settings for our machines for everybody, but we're happy to help people that don't have a Trotec as well, and give them some advice on it, give them some help and assistance.
I think that's a good point to make, Andy, because it's not just Trotec laser owners that we help. We get quite a lot of calls from people who've bought our consumable products and want help in getting a good result with them, and we're happy to talk to them. We love everyone that uses a laser, so talk to us. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, well, I think I might be biased, but I think everyone aspires to have a Trotec.
I wouldn't disagree.
Good man. I don't know if there's anything else to add on that.
Simone, back to you.
Thank you. Perfect. So we'll go on to the next slide. We're a little bit over time already, but that's just because.
Thing.
What's that? Sorry.
I've known Bryan a long time, so it's a bit like
yeah. Yeah, but it's just, we've got so many things to say, right, about it. We just want to make everything clear. But I would just like to address this last question too, because we get it quite often on how to really market your business. What are the possibilities? And I would just like to let you know that we already made a webinar on this topic. So that's really specifically about how to do the best marketing for your laser business. So that's some examples. For example, it's the online marketing. Of course, it is very important to have a website in place where you can show your products. You could even use some kind of a web shop, maybe. that are already available too. But then in this case, you would have to take the cost in mind, of course. Then there is email marketing that you can do. You can do some social media marketing in this case too, just to get to broaden your audience, and that they can actually get in contact with you, because it is very important to also have some word of mouth. And that's very easy in these times to have that fixed over your social media accounts, for example. What is very important too would be making videos, for example. So that would be something that you might consider as well. These topics are clearly defined in this video, so you can have a look at this one. And then there is also the possibility to have some print marketing, which is ads, advertisements and flyers in local magazines. And then, of course, if you have a good product range already, then you can also go to trade shows, get a small booth, and just show what you've got, and do some marketing in networking events. And maybe you can also come up with some cooperations, some partnerships with other companies, for example, with Trotec, maybe. And this would be a possibility too. So I would suggest you to have a look at this webinar video. It's on our YouTube channel. And then you can find all the information on marketing your business. So this is already the last slide, slightly over time. Sorry for that. But yeah, I would like to point out that you can follow us on our website, of course. As previous mentioned already, we've got a YouTube channel with, I think it's more than 440 videos in the meanwhile already. And of course, we are on LinkedIn and on Facebook. So make sure to check out our channels and get in contact with us. And what I want to remind you of, very importantly, go and get the engraver's guide, our handbook that we made, because you've got all the most important information in this guide, and that will definitely help you to build up your own laser engraver's business. So that's from our side. We will put the recording on YouTube, of course, so you can watch it over and over again, like I said. And I would like to take the opportunity to thank you again for your interest in this webinar, for your interest in the Trotec products and services. And of course, I would like to thank Bryan and Andy for their support and for their very important and interesting information. And yeah, that's how I would like to say goodbye to you now. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.